So we just got our first look at Studio Series Galvatron, and while it's not perfect, it's miles better than the original one to me, and I'm very excited for it. And it got me wanting a new Knight Optimus Prime as well, like not Knightverse, but like the Knight design. But then I was thinking, do we really need a new mold? The Voyager that we got in the last Knight was pretty good when it came out. Perhaps a more refined version would satisfy people, but if Hasbro's making Age of Extinction Galvatron look like this to this, then imagine how they could improve Prime even more. So this is the last Knight Voyager Optimus, but not how most people will remember it. This deco is called Dark Optimus Prime, and it came out in a nice black box, and it was only available one of two ways. Number one, Dark Optimus could be purchased along with advance tickets for the last Knight through movie cards on June 25th, 2017 on the Omni 7 website. Never heard of that website before. Or two, if you went online on that website on September 29th, 2017, you could pick up any leftovers that were there. And that's all information I pulled from the wiki because it's the only place I could find that information. I think that makes this the rarest toy I own. Rarer than that Blu-ray exclusive Amazon Hound. Possibly rarer than JD Red Knight. That one I'm a bit iffy on, but I think there's more Red Knights that exist than this Prime. But what makes this Prime so great? Why is it the second time I've bought one of these molds after selling my original? Well, other than the deco, which I will get to in a sec, the mold isn't that bad at all. For Hasbro's second attempt at making an affordable Prime like this, like a retail toy, they heavily improved over the leader's design. Not only is it film accurate, because the leader was concept art accurate, it's a lot more fun to mess with. The proportions of this mold work a lot better than either of those leaders from Age of Extinction. And the detail on this mold, like all the tooling, it all pops a lot more, even on the original deco. The biggest improvement they made here, though, was the kibble management. There's still kibble, because there's no truck parts visible on the Knight Prime design. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. But it's a lot more spread out and not so in your face. It's still on the back and the legs, but it's a lot more self-contained. There isn't anything hanging off his ass or big chunks of truck hanging off the back of the legs being used as heels. There are still chunks of truck there, but like it's more tidy. Now onto the deco. Jesus Christ, this is such a good deco. The paint on here, the color of the blue, the bits of yellow, I really like those bits of yellow. They help that chest and the leg, like the gray sections, not look boring. The original toy had a silver chest and silver shins, which I always felt like they were out of place because the rest of the toy was the gray. And the all gray here just works a lot more because it's more cohesive. The dark blue helps that gray look not so bland because they go so well together. The chest section also has the actual flames painted on it, unlike the retail release. And the hip skirts are painted too, which is awesome. Weapons are weird though. So the purple sword I like, reminds me of a lightsaber a bit, and it's a much better color than that carrot orange that we got in the last one. But the shield, it's all blue, and it's probably gang molded to the shoulder pad sprues, so that's fine. But like, if you're going to go all out and make a brand new deco for this very, very exclusive Optimus Prime toy, putting a bit of paint on the shield would have made it feel a little bit extra like worth it. It would have been a little nicer. It's kind of a shame that the shield isn't painted, but it's not a deal breaker for me by any means. It's a little bit of an eyesore to me. The head. Oh man, the head is a massive improvement over the original. It's properly painted and it looks outstanding. If it weren't rare as hell, then I would paint the red stripe on his face. Really wish he had that little red stripe, but oh well. Mine does have an issue, and that's the right chest panel. There's a bit of sprue stuck underneath it, and I can't get at it because it's riveted in place, and I've tried so hard to get different tools in there. I've tried everything. I can't cut it away, so it doesn't move for transformation. However, that doesn't really need to happen. Like, the transformation doesn't suffer because of that. So it's fine. It's a bummer, but it's fine. Now, the toy's posing is odd. Because it's great, but also not great. The head's fine. A little limited because of the sculpt, but, I mean, you don't really need that much more range of motion out of it. The arms, if you mistransform them slightly, you have a butterfly joint, which is a massive plus, especially on a sword wielder. And the waist rotates. But he doesn't have ankle pivot. The wrists are static, which I think a sword wielder should always have wrist swivels, and the knees, because of the kibble hinges, are extremely limited. Transformation is still shelf armory, but it's a lot more fun than the leaders, and I noticed something. While the two toys I'm about to mention don't share exact engineering, Unique Toys Challenger still uses the same concepts from this Voyager. Most of the legs end up at the back to become the trailer hitch, while the feet become the front. The arms fold to form the top and front of the truck cab where the engine sits, while the torso folds around and becomes the middle. That's what makes them super similar. It's not a bad thing, it's just something I noticed when I was messing with them. But Challenger does borrow some concepts and some transformation ideas from this Voyager, which is, I mean, if it ain't broke. Truck mode still looks a bit off to me. Like, it looks great, but it's a bit squat. I think it's the tires. They're a bit too small for me. Otherwise, the truck looks great. I love the flames. They're super sharp, and the bits of silver are really well distributed around the toy. I love how the rims are painted and that long eyebrow thing on top of the windshield. I don't know, truck parts. I love the weapon storage because it's just like the leaders. However, because of the size of the shield, it hides away quite well. It also makes the back look more uniform, which is nice if you don't like the dark gray trailer hitch. It's a nice size too for Studio Series, and that's another reason why I would be okay with just a better painted, better engineered version of this thing in Studio Series. It does feel very weightless though, more so in truck mode than in robot mode. I don't know why I get that feeling, but it just kind of feels like that. I do wish the Western Star logos were picked out too, but it's fine. The deco on this still rocks though. In my opinion, it's much better than the original. It's such a good color scheme. And the mold itself isn't bad either. I love this figure. If you can find like the original one for cheap, I'd say like $35 max, get one. If you want to hunt for this one, it was only available in Japan, so Bai or Mandrake would probably be your best places to look for it, but it can get pricey. I managed to find a deal on this, but I've seen other ones go for like $200 to $300, so you gotta be careful if you want to find this deco. But the original one you can find plentifully, and I highly recommend just picking up that mold. If you want to wait, we might be getting a Studio Series one at some point. I mean, I'd assume so. If we got Galvatron, we're probably gonna get Prime next. But this toy is still a pretty good contender, and I can't wait for that Galvatron to come out because I'm gonna be displaying these two together. And that's my look at Dark Optimus Prime. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. I'm gonna go eat pizza now.